You're watching Two Moms, One Channel with Stephanie and Missy. Thank you for your support and for watching our show, and I hope you enjoy.
We're back this week for Cooking with Laura, and you have something that looks real yummy. Tell me about it.
It's fried rib niblets, and they're small enough that they're manageable, but they're not bite-sized. But it's great for a dinner idea. I'm going to make some homemade mashed potatoes to go with it to show you how to make it for a dinner.
Right.
But you can also take it to parties and stuff like that, and it'll go over well there.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to trying.
And I look forward to making them. Hello, and I'm going to teach you how to make fried rib niblets. I start with the country style boneless ribs. You got to make sure they're boneless so you can cut them up. I cut them up in little manageable pieces, and that way this is perfect for my family. You might want to make them a little bigger, make them a little smaller, adjust to your family. In this bowl, I have a half a cup of milk and 3 eggs. It probably will not do this whole package of meat. I'll probably have to do another set. So just keep that in mind. I have a large family. If a family is 6, so I've got a lot of people to feed. I cook big meals. In this bowl, I have 2 cups of flour. And to that, I add a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of pepper. And then I just take a fork and really mix all that salt and pepper into the flour good. And that way, you've got your seasoning in your flour, and it just really tastes better that way, I think. The breading is flavored as well as the meat. And then to get a thicker, almost crunchier crust to them, I take them and I dip them into the wet. You always use one hand for wet, one hand for dry. That way you don't end up with clumpy fingers. But I dip them into the wet, and then I dip them into the flour, and I coat them real good. And then I go right back to the wet. I coat it again. And that's going to give it a little bit thicker crust. You can already kind of see it's a little bit thicker. And the milk helps to make it a little bit better too, I think, instead of just egg. Because a lot of people use just egg. And I've got my pan back here preheating. It's a cast iron skillet, so I have to preheat it a little higher than what I'll be cooking on because it takes a while to get the cast iron hot, which it's starting to do. So I will lower my temperature down to about a medium on an electric stove. And to test the grease, I just take a little bit of flour that's already on my hand, and you'll see it bubble up around that flour. And when it bubbles up around that flour, you know it's hot enough to start putting them in. And I use, so that I don't accidentally dip my fingers in the grease, I use a set of these. And I just take them and set them in there. And I'll get some of these fried up. While I do that, I've taken about 7 to 10 good sized potatoes, and it's filled up this whole bowl. I've diced them, got them ready to go in the pan. So we'll put these in to boil while our meat's cooking, and we'll get back with you and show you the rest. Okay, here we are. I've just about got these flipped, and see they've got a nice little batter on them, and they're getting a nice little brown to them, so we're going to flip them. And then, where did my lid go? There it is. We'll put the lid back on them. We put the lid on them so that it helps them cook the center a little quicker. We've got the potato water boiling. I always like to get it boiling before I put my potatoes in. That way they're cooking the whole time they're in there. So we will get these put in the pot and get them boiling and get these cooked up, and I'll show you what all to put in these to make homemade mashed potatoes and plate it up for you. Here we are. We're pretty close to done with the meat. I like to put mine on this little rack here so that the grease drains off of them and they're not sitting in a puddle of grease. It's a little healthier. Makes the fried food just a little healthier than if you just did it regular. But while the last of the meat's cooking, we're gonna go ahead and mash the potatoes. And I've already taken a half a stick of butter and cut it up and put it in there. And I've drained them. And now I'm gonna add a half a tablespoon of pepper and a half a tablespoon of salt. And then about a half a cup of milk. And we don't mash ours anymore. We do leave the skins on. My family prefers it that way. You can always peel yours. But we like to use the mixer now to do our potatoes. They just come out a little creamier. And you just get in there and get them all mixed up. If you need a little bit more milk or a little bit more butter, I've got a little extra butter here, and I can always grab some more milk if I need to. But right now they seem to be coming out pretty creamy. Try to make sure you get all the big clumps. That's why I spin my bowl so I can move my mixer around and get those clumps.
It's already thinking.
And I have arthritis, so mashing this many potatoes at one time would be very difficult. So we started doing this, so it's a little bit easier.
For arthritis people. And it'll be better if you live alone and you have arthritis.
Okay, and I think we just about got it. And let me show you. See, that makes it real nice and creamy. That's what we like. And you just mix it up a little extra. Try not to. There we go. And here in just a moment, I'll plate it all up for you. I'll plate it up. It's a really stick with you kind of meal. We mainly make it for special occasions.
And I know it smells delicious.
I can't wait to tear into it.
Yeah.
And with Halloween coming up, we have a lot of projects planned. The closer it gets to Halloween, the more last minute they'll be.
Sweet, sweet.
So what do you have next?
I have pumpkin carving. I'm gonna carve a really cool pumpkin. And then we're gonna take the seeds and make salted pumpkin seeds. So I look forward to seeing you guys. And until then,
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, always hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on a yummy recipe or a fun activity.